I'm Riley Harvey for VCN, and we are live for the VCN Championships. This is the Nationals. We're 2 minutes and 25 seconds away from the start of this race. Expect it to be a frenetic and frenzied start to this event. It always is on virtual cycling. Races that are lasting only an hour tend to have a few more matches burnt in them than you're used to watching Grand Tour events where riders are expected to perform for 7 or 8 hours, day after day after day. These tend to be a bit more frenetic, a bit more aggressive, shall we say. So we're expecting the power numbers from these riders to go red as they fly off the front of this event. We are live on a number of different platforms. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, to name but a few. And if you are seeing us anywhere around those platforms, feel free to send in a message. If you want to get any of your riders picked out, any of your friends zoomed in on, we'll try and help you with that. Try and show off your friends. We do try and show all of the riders throughout the event, but obviously we try and focus on some of the action as well. So sometimes not possible to go back and forth to different riders. We are live and we are here to answer your questions and hopefully be able to help with some of the requests. Just over a minute left to go now. I'm going to grab a mouthful of coffee and try and give you some input feedback on this race as it gets underway. And we are underway. Got Leuven and Krog leading out the front there. We've got Fleming back, who's a regular from the RGT events. Brandt from the E-Cycle Club Denmark as well there. Rob Miller's in on the chat, showing that he's cheering out for Anders. I think it's Anders Ostergaard, who is Rob's teammate from the TTT. A number of team time trial events go on in RGT, which I'd heartily recommend getting involved in if you're not already. Great events to take part in, but they're also really good for making friends in the cycling world. So you've always got somebody to go cycling with. As you can see, Rasmus Feldball there in 10th position. He's going to be an interesting rider to watch. Seen him in a number of events and he's always performed quite well in RGT. Climbing back at the back of this group. And then we've got a drop back to Pedersen and Zani. We'll just quickly drop back and check in on those riders. And we've got a second group on the road here. We've got Pedersen, Bolt, Ransauer and Zani. And Soholt there. And then we have another Soholt as well, has been further distance from that group. And Craven, Soholt and Craven into each other's wheel there. And then with Sales and Thompson, it's a little bit further down the road. Looking like a couple of these smaller groups may group back together. I think we're just passing the university building there. Fly back up to the front of the race. Got Holst taking the lead now in the front of this. And Krog once again comes through. Krog in the orange power bar. ECKD, E-Cycle Club Denmark, is a big cycling club, and they have taken brought a lot of riders. They ride frequently on Be Cool. They've brought a lot of riders over to RGT in the last few months, as we see Ostergood, Anders Ostergood, Rob Miller's shout there, taking off at the front of this race. Anders Ostergood, TBS. I'm not sure what team that is. Been reeled back in again now by the main group. Difficult with such a strong group behind to go, but it is going to take a number of attacks from riders to break this up and fragment it. Pedersen takes the lead. I was just mentioning then that the ECKD group come over to the E-Cycle Club Denmark, come over to RGT. They were previously a big Be Cool club, and they're gradually making a shift over to RGT. And they've got their jersey in the platform now, so whilst they don't all have ECKD after the end of their names, we're presuming that all the riders in their jersey are in the team. So the strong showing from the ECKD group here, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 riders in this lead group. It'll be difficult with team tactics to not see. Can't envisage it not being an ECKD rider that's finishing on the podium tonight. I think that's the old Stella Artois brewery that we've just passed there. There are a number of landmarks picked out in this recreation of Leuven that RGT have made. It's the section of the course that was used in the 2021 World Championships. The middle point, which I think they did 7 laps of this on the actual event. So Sirabon once again pushes towards the front there. Not too far away from the first climb. Riders snaking all over the road now and just starting to elongate a little bit. The elastic getting stretched there for the riders at the back of this group. Just forcing the way through back to the front. Atkinson there, the Deal Canal. Atkinson and Brandt at the front. Elbal dropping 14th position. A little bit distance there. So Anders' team, TBS, I'm just being informed on the chat, is the Black Sheep, but he races for 3R in the VCN Team Time Trial Series. It's quite a nice thing about the Time Trial Series is Rasmus Feldbaum must be hearing me on the commentary, has made a burst for the front there as we're entering into this first climb. Up at 7.1%, and now we've got separation. We've got a big separation here. We've got a group of 4 at the front, and then there's a gap back, the Fleming back. Gottlieb pushes on at the front. Anders Ostergaard wary of this move. Rasmus Feldbaum, very strong rider. And then it's Hedegaard just behind, but Hedegaard's being distanced slightly. Snaver, also of the Black Sheep, putting in a fantastic effort there to get himself back up to this group. Anders Ostergaard, Snever, Feldbal. It's a big selection here as Holst also makes it across. We're on a slightly downhill, flatter section here. Will be some rest for the riders. There's Feldbal just at the back of the group, but he's taking it very easy here, just enjoying the drafting. You can see in the top left-hand corner, the drafting saving 220 watts there. For Rasmus Feldbal, just sitting into the draft, enjoying the benefit. It is worth noting you will see some of these riders who are more knowledgeable on the RGT physics and the way the RGT works, basically just sitting in, enjoying the draft, and realizing how much of a difference there is in RGT compared to some of the softwares that use fuzzy drafting, how much that positioning really does make a difference for them. Already we've got a gap opened up to Fleming back group there of 110 meters. We'll just drop back and see the action in that group for a moment. We're a little way away from the De Kuzlan climb. There's the Kaiserberg there, I think we just crested. 6.6% average. Got Simonson, Brandt, Suraban, Fleming back, and Krog in this group, I think. That drop back to Bolt. We can see Hackinson there putting a massive effort in. I think Hackinson's trying to make the bridge. Hackinson 5.2 watts per kilogram. Got the gap down to 60 meters. Do we think he'll make that bridge? Hackinson riding solo at the moment. 340 watts. Pace up ahead, slowed slightly. He's going to catch. It looks like he's going to catch just as we go into this climb. I hope Hackinson's quite a light rider so he can make the benefit of catching before this climb. It is a more of a drawn out one. This Fleming back manages to get to the wheel of Hackinson. Fleming back, Simonson, Hackinson, all trying to bridge up to this group in front, but it looks like Hackinson stalled slightly. Fleming back stalled slightly. Hackinson is still pushing. Gap not really reducing now, as we see that the riders in front of going into their red power zones. They're really pushing. Hedegaard, Hackinson, a valiant effort, I think, but he's not going to make it back as Hedegaard is feeling the pressure and Hedegaard is distanced slightly. Rasmus Feldbal up at the front of this group with Anders Ostergaard and Gottlieb. Rob Miller, knowing his friend from the TTs, will know exactly how much power he can put out for exactly how long. See Ostergaard, Gottlieb, Feldbal here in a group with a 45 meter gap behind them. Near to the end of the De Kuzlan, 975 meter climb, 6% maximum, 2.5% average. Next climb will be the Wimpers, which isn't too far away. Rasmus Feldbal, once again, just enjoying that drafting benefit at the back. He's not putting in too much power. Holst gets back. Rob Miller just commentating that it was very painful to watch Hackinson there put in so much effort and not quite making that bridge. We've got Snover still there. We start this descending section. Rasmus Feldball once again just enjoying that drafting benefit. 170 odd watts. And then we hit Whimpers. Hard right hand turn. All that drafting benefit disappears. Sorry, all that descending benefit disappears and the elevation hits 6%. Ostergaard takes the lead now. Gottlieb, Feldball, Holst, who's just bridged across. Oh, sorry, Holst, who's just caught his distance slightly. 6.2 watts per kilogram. Trying to hold on to this. Rasmus Feldball makes it painful for people now. Taking the lead. Dragging things out. Elastic being stretched. Holst just losing any connection now. Feldball eases slightly. So Feldball and Gottlieb, both members of ECKD. Ostergaard solo here as a member of the Black Sheep. Holst still battling, but unable to reconnect with this lead group of 3 at the moment as we're going onto a flatter section. All still there, still battling. And I think on this flatter section that the front lead 3 have eased slightly and Holst is going to make that connection. Holst reconnects, but that's going to be really painful. We're all thrown off the front, but they've burnt matches like crazy getting back to that group. Group of Hackinson, Fleming back now, 270 metres back. With Snover. This group now just easing slightly on this flatter section. I think they're aware that they're 270 metres clear of the nearest competitors. That realizing that the leader is going to be coming from this group. .50 km speeds in this descent. Virtually no power input from these riders as they're just cruising along. 3.9 kilometers remaining. Are we going to see an early attack from any of these riders? Holst, who's battled so hard to regroup with these, is left on the front. Holst, Ostergaard, Feldball and Gottlieb. Interesting to see as we go through the events today. A number of events very close together. How the tactics differ from one event to the next. As Holst puts down the hammer. Just perhaps testing the water there. Rasmus Feldbaum once again just in that safe position at the back. 173 watt saving. Gottlieb joins him. Like Anders Ostergaard. Battling on his own here. 3 teammates together. We're heading towards final climb or finish line. None of these riders keen on putting in the work and helping the others. Feldbaum takes the inside line. It is possible on RGT, it does give you automatic lines, but with as Gottlieb goes now, Gottlieb pushes 11.8 watts per kilogram. Gottlieb takes off on the front, he's followed by Feldbaum, Gottlieb, and as Ostergaard is coming back to them. They've not managed to shake Ostergaard here. Holst distanced immediately, 50 meters back to Holst now as Ostergaard holds with the group. Feldbaum continues applying power. Feldbaum is pushing on Ostergaard. Gottlieb watching. Very tactical racing. Rasmus Feldbaum pushes on. Gottlieb goes now. Ostergaard on his wheel. .4 kilometers left to go. Gottlieb makes it back to Feldbaum. And as Ostergaard's not quit yet. Power's fluctuating, perhaps looking for the right gear. Gottlieb and Feldbaum have got together. I'm going to jump forward to Feldbaum and Gottlieb as we go underneath the 1 kilometer marker. Feldbaum and Gottlieb neck and neck. They've both eased. Is this going to give Ostergaard a chance to get back in? Feldbaum, Gottlieb, surely they're looking at each other. 750 meters left to go. Gottlieb applies the power. Gottlieb opens his sprint. Feldbaum chases, comes through. Feldbaum continues. Gottlieb sits in the draft. .500 meters. Feldbaum goes again. Gottlieb comes to him and around him. Gottlieb opens a small gap and Feldbaum kicks again. Feldbaum's pushing 250 meters left. He's benefiting from the drafting here. Feldbaum comes level with Gottlieb. It's neck and neck. Feldbaum still enjoying the drafting here, but it looks Gottlieb takes it. Gottlieb takes it from Feldbaum. Ostergaard, very valiant racing, comes in third. And Holst managed to regroup with those lead riders. Comes over in 4th position. Fleming back, managing to drop Hackinson Atkinson put in an early effort to try and bridge across that lead group. Earned a lot of matches there. Slamming back, comes across in 5th position. Atkinson 6th. Snova 7th position with Simonson. And Simonson. Biraban. $50 meters remains to go. Edegaard. Chasing. 10th position. Then we have Edison. And then we've got Prog and Bolt locked neck and neck. 250 meters left to go. Are these riders just going to come in together? Both eased. Prog takes the early lead. And Bolt goes. Bolt unleashes a sprint. Krog reacts, but I think it's too late. They allowed too much of a gap before jumping on the power. They weren't getting the drafting benefit there. As Bolt comes over the line in front of Krog. Then we've got Brandt, 14th position. Rob Miller's just commented, and it's a great race, and it was fantastic to watch. And the Danes will be hard to beat in the event next week. So we go for the World Championships next week. Anyone that's qualified from the Nationals this weekend goes forward for the World Championship race next weekend. As we've got Brandt coming over the line. Very fast races this week. Very, very fast races. Unbelievable times by all these riders. Not just the leading group, the remaining pack have put in fantastic times. Far, far faster than I could manage. My mouth is certainly faster than my legs. As Brandt comes 200 meters. So we are going to have to leave these remaining riders on the road, unfortunately, and head over to the next event. We would normally watch all the riders home. We're just giving them a name check as we run back through the crowd. But Ransauer in 15th position currently, with only 170 meters left to go. Craven in 16th with 200 meters left to go. Then we've Zani in 17th position with just over 800 to go. And then the Sales and Soholt. Sales looks to have just passed Soholt there. And then Sales in 18th, Soholt in 19th. And then we've Thompson on the road in 20th position. You have to bear with me for a moment while I just do some boring stuff to get us into the next race. David Brookhusen in on the chat now. Race 2 minutes and 40 seconds away now. Wouter Clays, Jury, Jurdal, Senna, Luca Vorest in this event, and Tom Gakes, to name but a few. Seem to have Siraban in this event as well, which a little bit unusual. I'm sure they've just raced in the last event, but that might be a different Siraban. Gonna catch a couple of trailers. While I grab a coffee. So for those of you just tuning in, I am Riley Harvey for VCN, and we are live with the VCN Champs. It's the national weekend, and we've had some fantastic racing already, and we're looking at some more now. We're riding the Leuven course, which is a fantastic course. It's on the RGT real roads. It's 15.3 kilometers. There are 4 main climbs in this route. Not a massive amount of elevation, but they are typical Belgian climbs. They're very aggressive. We've got 10 seconds left to go before the start of this event. So those who aren't familiar with the racing style, you can expect to see these guys absolutely flying at lightning speed off the start grid as their numbers go red and the race gets underway. I had a couple of riders there just stalling slightly. They weren't applying power before this time of the start. We've got Igor Kops, Chris Bancross in this race. Francois Rijker, the Moon Riders. We're covering the Moon Riders race today, the Moon Riders Tour. Igor Kops in third position there, but we've got a big break opening up already for I think that's Herdal up in front from NZ Bro and Siraban. Sedna, Chris Bancross there. Chris races frequently. Chris Bancross races frequently in the PRT handicap races, which occur on Thursday nights at 7 on the RGT Cycling platform. I cover those races frequently. Chris is a very canny racer. He's really good at saving his power and knowing when to attack. The Cal Gagny is in this event as well. Cal Gagny has been new to the racing circuit in RGT as Igor Kops puts in a 10 watt per kilogram effort there to bridge across this front pair of two. Igor, a big personality on the RGT Cycling. He takes runs a group called Virtue Slow, who run their own events. They've quite a few big events going through in RGT. Around the corner onto the cobbled section. Erdal once again pushes. Third up with 5.7 watts per kilogram there. Pushing out upwards of 400 watts. Cal Gagny, the Italian rider, is leading the chase group behind. As we see Alex Plager there. Alex Plager uses the wheel of Cal Gagny to slingshot across and make a bridge to this group in front. Alex Plager of Racio Racing, and Cal Gagny makes the catch as well. Henrik Mard. Pedalers is pushing the remaining group. I would have expected to have seen Christophe Contant in this event as well, but I believe that Christophe has been a little bit under the weather recently. I think he's decided that he's going to be taking a little bit of a break, as David Brookers and Chris Bancroft there. David was just on the chat briefly a moment ago. Tom Gates, Team Draft, riding the Buffalo bike there, hard to miss. See the gap's just opening now. Is Chris Bancroft there? I think it is. Attempts to make a bridge, and David Brookers and goes with him. And as does Jury. And then we see the riders of Wouter Claes jump on that attack and make the bridge. For Chris Bancroft there, unleashing 6.8 watts per kilogram. Jury's come to his wheel. Jury really needs to fly through and just take some turns on the front here if this catch is going to be made. Now we're near to catching, but the attack there has stalled slightly. Wouter Claes, Moon Riders, pushes again onto the front. As Chris Bancroft pushes again, he restarts this event, this attack to catch the group in front. And Tom, boys, one of you needs to do a bit of work on the front of this chasing pack if you're going to make a catch. Henrik Mard now puts in some efforts. Just not managing to make the catch now, and before too long this attempt to bridge is going to fizzle out. Henrik Mard eases. We're coming into the base of the first climb. Group catches back up with Mard, but no impetus. Buffalo Tom Gates just setting the tempo there. We come past the moorings. The front group isn't really pushing too much here. They may be waiting for the climb to attack again. They're into the climb now. Jury, Henrik Mard, Jazbeck on the early slopes of the climb. Wouter Claes, Henrik Mard, they're all attempting to bridge now. Jury, Ratio Racing. Go under the bridge. Starting to plateau slightly. Rory gets into the drafting now. On the wheel of Alex Plager, that's two Ratio Racing riders in this lead group now. The lead group's fragmented over that climb, as Eagle Cops and Calgagny have gone off the front. Jory rolls through. Siraban pushes. There's some jokes going on in the chat about Tom Gates' Buffalo bike. For those who aren't aware, the Buffalo bike was a special gift from RGT given to riders who supported the Everesting event in January. So any of the riders that managed to climb 8,848 meters in the month of January were gifted a special code to have access to a Buffalo bike. It's all part of awareness for World Bicycle Relief, which is RGT's chosen charity. As you come down by the Leuven Deal Canal, and it's flat now, this group of 4, if they work together, they should be able to catch back up to Calgagny and Copse there. So the World Bicycle Relief, an important charity and supported by RGT, and the Buffalo bike, by its very nature, is so bizarre in the platform. It continually raises awareness again for the World Bicycle Relief. See Hurdle there from NZ Bro, working to close down Igor Copse and Calgagny. Leja chases on Calgagny, caught by Jory. Jory now enjoying 120 watt saving on the wheel of Calgagny. Comes level with Igor Copse, and Hurdal is there as well. Ziraban comes through, flying off the front of this group. Rob Miller's just boasting that he's also got a Buffalo bike on the chat there. I think World Bicycle Relief is a great charity too, but I'm too lazy to Everest, so even over the course of a month I'm too lazy to do it, so I just mention them in the streams frequently. See Calgagny at the front, Jory, Hurdal into the Kuzlan climb, a 975 meter climb now, 6% maximum, 2.5% average, but it is over a long period, so there's a good middle section of this climb which is quite aggressive as we come underneath the halfway marker. Calgagny pushes Hurdal and Jory. I'll worry if that Igor Copse dropping just slightly there. Not much of a draft saving to be had on the sections of climb, so it's not a massive loss to lose a wheel just momentarily. And again, shouts out for Henrik Mard and Chris Bancross in the chat. Suraban comes back to the group, taking an aerial shot so we can see what's happening a little bit more. Stringing out. Alex Plager dropped from this group now. He's back 230 meters. Leaves Jory as the only Racio Racing rider in this group. Coming to the top of the Kuzlan. Gagny leads on down. Suraban pushes once more. Igor Copse just towards the rear of the group. Calgagny continues to apply power and just opens up a slight gap. Igor is frequent rider with the RGT platform, as is Jory. Hurdal I think is relatively new to the platform, as is Calgagny. We're just going to drop back briefly to see how the battle's going on between the group following, which has got Bancross, Tom Gates, Plager and Wouter Claes in this group. We've also got Henrik Mard in here. They're coming to the top of this climb, just starting the descent. Gakes once again, very obvious on his Buffalo bike. And we see Francois Rijker. He's a little bit of no man's land here with Vodusek chasing on, and then Brookhuizen leading the group, following with Forrest, Senna. Brookhuizen was attacking earlier in the race, but he's back up to the front. Just had the intro that the information that Igor Kops likes to attack at the crest of a climb when everybody is gassed. So you can see that something has happened there at the crest of that climb. Igor Kops and Cal Gagny both going. Cal Gagny not racing with a heart rate monitor. Igor Kops, we can see there, is up at 179. And slight descent. 1.2%. The riders are going behind. Gajuri, Suraban, Herdal there. Suraban just tailing off. Perhaps trying to position himself in the draft, or perhaps he's just not enjoying the flatter descending sections. And distance just gradually opening up for Suraban there. I'm going to head back up to the lead pair. Yuri and Herdal there. Suraban's having to put out 8.1 watts per kilogram. Try and get back to the wheels of these riders. Very hard to regain and descend. We can see the lead pair in the distance there. Their powers have eased slightly. Igor Kops once again in the lead. One more climb left on this event. We'll see whether Igor is true to form and attacks at the top of that climb once again. Herdal and Yuri. Like they're evenly matched here. Yuri was part of the break that made it across to the lead group earlier on, so I wonder how many matches he burnt making that attack. Suraban up at 6.5 watts per kilogram here. Still battling, but it's an 80 meter gap, 95 meter gap now to the two riders in front. He's 670 meters clear of the riders behind him though, so fairly comfortable in the 5th position. If he continue at this sort of pace, he may be able to get back to Jury and Herdal. Depends whether those two riders in front start arguing with each other and questioning whether they should be working together. That gap to the riders in front looks like it's still 80 meters, but it looks closer. Igor Kops on the front here, Cal Gagny sitting in on his wheel. He's saving 90 watts there, Cal Gagny. Follows Kops. Kops perhaps easing slightly, not wishing to Give Calgagny a free ride all the way to the finish line, and this could benefit Jury and Hjördal behind. Coming into the early slopes, this final climb. Looking at 6% average. You turn the corner and into the cobbles and the gradient starts to stick. And Copse opens up the power. 8 watts per kilogram. Calgagny follows. Calgagny is now up at 9.2, 10.3. Copse just a 5 meter gap. Copse over the top, continues to apply power. He's up at 8.8 watts per kilogram. He's eased. Lets Calgagny go through. Copse blown. Let a little bit of a gap open up to Calgagny there. Calgagny still up at 5.96 watts per kilogram. Only 1.4 kilometers remaining. Calgagny up at 5.96 watts per kilogram. .2 watts per kilogram. .9. Igor now at 4 watts per kilogram. The gap isn't immense, it's only 33 meters to Calgagny, but we are into the finishing straight. The last 750 meters, Calgagny opens up at 7.1 watts per kilogram. Igor Copse raises it. He's up at 6 watts per kilogram, but he's not closing the gap. Phenomenal speeds from these riders. Calgagny, 370 meters left to go. See behind Igor there, Jury and Hjördal battling away. Calgagny enters the last 200 meters. Surely is a foregone conclusion now. Calgagny, 100 meters left to go. Hjördal and Jury opening up the watt cannons behind. Calgagny comes over the line in first position. Copse in second. Hjördal in front of Jury. Jury at the line. Ah, Hjördal just held on. There must have been millimeters in it there between Hjördal and Jury. As Suriban comes over the line in 5th position. Suriban comes over now, 5th position. 50 meters left to go. Just behind him we can see Jazbek there, being chased by Wouter Klaes. Wouter putting in a phenomenal sprint for the line there, but not quite catching him. With Henrik Mard, 8th position. Alex Plager, 9th. .250 meters left to go. See a battle going on behind for 10th and 11th position between Tom Gates and Chris Bancross. Fletcher comes over the line, 9th position. And Chris Bancroft managing to drop Tom Gates there. And Tom Gates just shuts off the power. Comes over the line to show the world his Buffalo bike. Francois Riker keeping clear of Vodusek there. Vodusek applying a lot of power at this moment in time. Francois needs to just up his game slightly here. He's got 130 meters left to go, and Vodusek is closing rapidly. Vodusek's up at 6.4 watts per kilogram. Francois is responding now. He's opening up his own sprint. 30 meters left to go. He's just going to hold Vodusek off, but Vodusek did made a very valiant attempt there to recover that position. Luca Vorest, 14th position, with David Brookhuizen racing on. Luca's just going at tempo here in recovery, and David Brookhuizen is quick to get back to his wheel. Come around this corner. Brookhuizen on the wheel of Forest here. $750 meters to go, and Brookhuizen's burning the remaining matches that he has. Vorest is Luca Vorest not responding as Brookhuizen continues to apply the power. 5.1 watts per kilogram. Brookhuizen pushes on. Vorest now 61 meters behind. Brookhuizen comes over the line, 14th position. So he comes over the line. He's still got 330 meters left to go, but it looks like it's a foregone conclusion now. And Brookhuizen comes over the line in a time of just over 25 minutes. Forest, 15th position. They've just been asked on the live chat there by Matthias Fishback if Alex Plager is qualified for the VCN Worlds, which are occurring next weekend. VCN World. The top 5 placed national riders will be entered into the World Championships, which is a single race next weekend. Unfortunately, if I'm being absolutely honest with you, Matthias, I've covered a few races already today, and I am doing the camera work and responding to messages all at the same time. So I can't tell you who has qualified at this moment. It will be worked through, and all the riders will be notified. But unfortunately, I'm just not capable to multitask enough to give you all the information just straight off the top of my head. As Senna comes over the line in 26 minutes, just over the 26-minute mark, just shy of 27. Nope. $100 meters remaining. I'm going to take a momentary break here and switch over to the next race that we're covering. Mateus saying, take it easy, Riley. We're jumping into this race. We've got 32 minutes till this race gets underway. So I'm going to take a moment to go and grab a coffee. And we'll wait while this race populates. We will be back shortly. And we're not closing down the coverage. We'll just keep this live stream running. Not going to be terribly interesting for the next 30 minutes as you stare at my avatar. But, So, ladies and gentlemen, the French race is occurring now. We are having coverage on VCN channel from a French rider, so it is being covered by VCN, but I was just going to jump in there and try and show you that race as well while we were waiting for the UK event to get underway. But I did do it very, very last minute, and we haven't been able to get into that race. You can see the little red Wi-Fi signal of death appearing on the right hand side of the screen there. Near where it says sending spawn request. So we were just too close there. The race has got underway whilst we were attempting to get in. So we will have coverage of that race on VCN later on today. I think I may have to just reset the RGT now because it's just got stuck in a little bit of a loop there. Bear with me for one moment. I'm going to play a couple of trailers out to you while we just try and sort that out on the stream. So Francois Iker is commenting on the chat that I've had too much coffee, which is a good possibility. I haven't stopped this morning drinking coffee. I do my best to try and keep it flowing whenever I can. Half man, half coffee. We are going to be doing the UK stream. Francois is asking, well, he's hoping that the final race is Ventoux. Francois likes the upwards races. Not a particular fan of the Ventoux race myself, the Ventoux event. There is actually, if you're looking on the RGT users Facebook group, we have John from RGT has planned a race coming up soon, which is the race at the Stelvio. He's get the details for it while we're just chatting and looking. John was the creator of the RGT users Facebook group. It has become a kind of a self-sufficient group now. John's not involved as much as he was originally, with moderators from within the group itself. But there is an RGT event coming up shortly, which is to mark the, well, it was going to be to mark the anniversary of the creation of the RGT users group, although what it's ended up being now is more of an end of a training celebration for John, I think, and it is just a general enjoyable ride that he's hoping a lot of people will take part in. So it's on the RGT Cycling users group. It's also on the RGT users events group. That is going to be this coming Tuesday at 5:30 for anybody who likes the hills, likes the races that go upwards, on the Passo del Stelvio, and it's available through the RGT Cycling app for anyone who wants to get involved and have a go on RGT. Those who aren't aware, RGT group rides and races can be raced by anyone. You don't have to be a paid member. You can jump on the free version and join in on an RGT group ride or a race. While this race is just waiting, I'm gonna grab a fresh coffee, and I'll be back with you guys shortly, just before the stream, just before the event goes live. I'm Riley Harvey for VCN, and I hope that you managed to entertain yourselves for those few moments whilst the French race was going on. As I say, the French race has been covered by a French streamer, so we'll have coverage of that later on the VCN channel. We are now 1 minute and 25 seconds out from the event today. I can see we've got Richard Akers of REAC training in the event, Ben Hammond Phillips, Ratio Racing, Burchick, Barnett, James Melville, and then we've JL, who I'm not sure JL is, but we'll see what racing's like today. Looking forward to this event getting underway. 1 minute left to go. We are, once again, for those who aren't aware, on the Leuven circuit. It's 15.3 kilometers. Not a fantastically hilly circuit. It is classically Belgian, though, with punches throughout the event, and those hills can really split the race up. The riders getting their engines up to power. Only 10 seconds or so left to go. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and all manner of different platforms. If you're interested in any particular aspect of the race, you want to make your opinions known, you want to have a chat, then get in touch with us through the comments. They all come through to the same location. See Barnett here going off fantastic power from the start line, up at 9 watts per kilogram briefly there. Richard Akers responds to that and makes sure that him and Barnett are off the front of this race. Ben Hammond Phillips and James Melville there. James Melville, frequent flyer in the RGT, as are all these riders really. Frequent flyer in the RGT world. Verchick, and only Al there. I think that's Al Jones, possibly further back on the grid, missing that electric start. Those who aren't familiar with the virtual world racing, these events tend to be around about an hour long. A lot of matches are burnt in the first sections of these events on an electric start, a real aggressive start, as the riders don't have to perform for 6, 7, 8 hours. They can get those matches burnt and out of the way to create the selections really early on in the race. They're also not expected that they're going to be doing this for another 2 or 3 weeks, as you would see in your normal racing events. We've got Verchick here, Barnett, Phillips, Richard Akers, and James Melville in the first selection of this event. They're heading towards the Kaisersberg climb. Richard Akers puts in a bit of an effort around that corner. He's shocking everybody. He's lifting the tempo very early. He's trying to make another selection here. It's Barnett and Phillips have gone with him. Burchick and Melville caught out slightly, and pace just settles down at the front there. Richard Akers, you could see his avatar took a look to the left hand side. That's the look behind feature in RGT. It shows whenever the riders are looking behind, the avatar has a virtual representation of when that's happening. So you can see that Richard Akers there, just that little momentary burst, trying to see if it created a gap, as Ben Hammond Phillips does the same. Ben Hammond lifts the pace, shoots off the front of this group. He keeps the pace on momentarily and then eases. Richard Akers getting to his wheel. Some really aggressive attacks here. Ben Hammond Phillips and Richard Akers opened a gap up on the group behind of just around about 10 meters. And Richard Akers once again lifts the pace. He's up at 6.1 watts per kilogram. Benham Phillips responds. Verchik goes from the group behind. Melville goes with him, and Barnett now just spat out slightly. Gap's opened up 8 metres to him. Melville goes over the top of Verchik there, gets to Richard Akers and Benham Phillips. Are they going to continue applying the pressure here? Richard Akers up in the orange power zone. Verchik makes it back to the group. He's sitting on. Barnett makes it back now as well. Well, we're not even 3 kilometres into this event, and it's already spicy. These riders are looking to really make this race electric. Small group, and I think that this is going to be finished before we're even halfway around. Verchik, Phillips, Akers, Barnett. Not too far now until we enter Kaisersberg. 290 meters, 9% maximum. Melville takes the lead. Benham Phillips, Barnett, Richard Akers, all tightly packed. Verchik not wanting to get dropped, pushing onto the front. Pace has slowed considerably now. We're still up at nearly 42 kilometers per hour. See him coming around the corner there. Barnett on the back of the group. Pushes, makes sure he stays in contact. Keeps that vital drafting benefit. Riders keeping aware. I know that Richard Akers was sharing on his Instagram earlier on that he was just finishing a warm-up ready for this event, making sure he had the legs spinning, all the preparation in place. Just a slight gap opened up to Richard Akers there. Verchik's closing it. Melville on the wheel of Verchik there. And Barnett still at the back of this group. By the marina. Seeing the start banner there for the beginning of this climb. Starts quite gently before ramping up. As Richard Akers drops another watt bomb. He's gone off the front, 7.2 watts per kilogram. Riders responding. Benham Phillips and Barnett just slightly caught out here. Barnett comes over the wheel of Benham Phillips and gets back to Verchik. Richard Akers still applying the pressure. We're just underneath the bridge. This group's still together. Melville in the lead. Pace settling slightly. Barnett managing to respond to all the attacks so far. Richard Akers now at the back of the group. Enjoying some drafting saving. Verchik leads the way, 3.2 watts per kilogram. Ryak once again powers off. 10 watts per kilogram. Holds it at 6.5. Verchik responds. Barnett responds. Benham and Phillips and James Melville not looking like they can respond to this at this moment in time. Being dragged along by Verchik. Richard Akers shuts it down. Barnett gets back to his wheel. I wonder if Richard has got a big game plan here, if he's looking for a particular one of these riders to come across with him. And Riak, Richard Akers just setting a steady tempo at the front there. Nothing too aggressive. Verchik, Melville, Phillips. Just seem comfortable with that 45-meter gap. Melville goes now. Melville jumps across those two riders in front. 11 watts per kilogram and sustaining it. Verchik's responding. Verchik's trying to go with him. Barnett and Richard Akers. Are they going to see Melville bridging across and push again? Richard Akers, Barnett and Melville together. Barnett's still applying a little bit of pressure at the front. The gap to Verchik and Benham and Phillips there. 44 metres as Barnett just opens up again. Barnett, Melville, Richard Akers as one unit on the front of this race. And Melville pushes now. Verchik and Benham and Phillips are pushing. We're into the Kuzlan climb now. Early sections, easier gradients. Verchik and Benham and Phillips recovering ground. The gap down to 24 metres now. Melville pushes on, 7.1 watts per kilogram on the front. Being matched by Verchik, being bettered by Verchik at the moment. Verchik looking like he's going to make the catch. And he does, but will Ben Phillips also bridge? Ben Hammond Phillips is burning matches now. 5.8 watts per kilogram. He's working on his own. Nobody to share the work, nobody to draft off. As we go underneath the halfway marker, Barnett leads at the moment with Melville, Verchik, Richard Akers behind. Ben Phillips is just eased off on the power. And that is the end of the chase for Ben Phillips. Group of 4 at the lead of this race as we're coming towards the end of the Kuzlan. 975 metres of climbing, 6% maximum, 2.5% average, and Barnett pushes. Barnett pushes now just on the crest of this climb. Barnett's pushing, Riak slightly distanced. The back of the pack is there with Verchik and Melville, but Barnett's just opened a small gap. And it's eased slightly. Richard Akers pushing back to his wheel. Richard Akers goes through and off the front, and Richard pushes. Riak applying pressure. Melville responds to it. Melville's back up to his wheel, and Richard Akers goes again. He's seen Melville coming back to him. Barnett, who I earlier thought was in trouble, he was at the back of the group, responding well. Short descent now before we enter Whimpers. Whimpers an 8% average. More aggressive climb. And this is where it starts. Richard Akers once again being aggressive, taking the lead of the race. Melville watching the rise in front of him. Birchick now dropping to the back. Riders evenly matched. Riak's not just easing up on the power as much as some of the other riders are. He still keeps pushing. Akers, Virchick, Barnett, Melville in a battle of wills. They just drop into the back of the group and then pushing forward. Conscious of his position. Hairpin bend onto the ring road. Big expanse of pretty flat, slightly descending tarmac. Moment for coffee. Birchick, Melville, Barnett, Riak grouped tightly. Just very momentarily we'll drop back from this group to see Ben Phillips also on this section of ring road, and Jay Al continuing to ride. I think they're just coming to the top of the de Koosland there. Heading back to this electrifying front group. Pace is eased now. We're on this flat section. I think the riders realise that power expended here is only going to benefit the other riders. On these flatter sections, massive amounts of drafting benefit. Birchick is in the lead currently. Akers just at the back of the group. Just pushes slightly to secure himself in the group. Melville, we can see there in the top left hand corner, is benefiting from a drafting advantage of upwards of 200 watts. He's only inputting 10-20 watts into his system at this moment in time. 270 watts now as he just tucks in and enjoys that drafting benefit. We're on a 2% downhill slope. Richard Akers doing the same, almost no input from him there. Just flowing along with the group. Virchick is doing all the work at the moment, 3 watts per kilogram. The road flattens a bit. Melville attacks. Melville pushes. Takes himself to the front of the group. Virchick, Barnett respond. Richard Akers comes through. Richard Akers continues applying the pressure. But the riders by surprise there. Melville, Verchik slightly distanced. Barnett, who's been responding well to all of the attacks so far, is on the wheel of Richard Akers, and Melville drops Verchik to get back to these two riders. I'm not sure if that was an attack by Richard Akers there. I think he might have just been responding to a little bit of flattening of the terrain. I think he was intending to surprise the riders as much as he did, but once he had, he's continued that and keeps pushing. Akers followed by Barnett. Melville distance slightly again, just burning a match to get back to this couple of riders. Verchik not benefiting from maximum draft here as he gets back to the group. Right, so over Richard Akers, Barnett and Melville, and once again it just settles slightly. 2.6 kilometers remaining. This is a fast race. Barnett on the front. Now the pace settles. Final climb, St. Antoniusberg. Still awaits these riders. 6% average, 230 meters. Although I'm unsure as to whether there will be a selection on this climb as James Melville just drops slightly. Verchik pushes. Verchik going early into this climb. Richard Akers responds. See the cobbles. Where Julian Alaphilippe made his attack. Richard Akers pushes. Melville comes now. Melville joins the party. Barnett just slightly distanced. Melville comes through over the top of these two riders. Continues pushing. See the end of the climb section. Richard Akers, who's been lighting up this race all the way through, is now just slightly distanced. Barnett's back to his wheel. The two riders work together to make it back to those two in front before that finish line. Barnett rolls into the lead. Sorry, Barnett rolls into third position in front of Richard Akers. Melville, Verchik. Pace has just eased slightly. I think this group's going to naturally come back together as we see the 1 kilometre marker in the distance there. The Flamme Rouge, Verchik, Melville, Barnett, Riak together. Richard Akers probably in the best position in this grouping at the moment. Saving the most draft, but has he got another match to burn in this finish straight? 1 kilometre to go. Verchik takes the lead. Richard Akers goes. Richard Akers pushes. He's gone for an early break. 7.2 watts per kilogram. Barnett's responding. He's got 10 meters on the group. Can he hold it? 6.6 watts per kilogram. Melville's chasing. Still 600 meters left to go. Richard Akers eases. The group collects again. Verchik applies the power. Verchik goes 7.3 watts per kilogram. 500 meters left. Riders just dueling with each other. Seeing who's going to make the final move and stick with it. Richard Akers once again back in prime position, enjoying the maximum draft at the back of this group. I wonder if he's going to slingshot himself through. 320 meters left to go. Verchik on the front. Verchik watching every single rider now. Richard Akers comes through onto the front. Melville goes. Melville pushes. I think this is the move from Melville now. It's not. He's just snuck the moves out from the others. Richard Akers goes. Melville's pushing. Melville and Richard Akers shoulder to shoulder. Melville's just taking the lead. Melville's in front of Richard Akers, but over the line. Melville, Richard Akers, Birchick and Barnett tightly fought to the finish. Ben Phillips, Ratio Racing, now with 560 metres left to go. This is great racing. Ben Phillips battled so well with that group early on. Eventually just a gap opened up. Once that gap's opened up, you go from a drafting benefit of around about 200 watts to down to 0 watts very quickly, and you have to in a massive burst to get back. And if you just lack of concentration for a moment, it can be enough to snap the elastic and shoot you straight out the back of the group as Ben Phillips comes over the line in one of the fastest finishing times of the day. I think this 24 minutes 29 for 5th position, and J Al 6th position. 2.5 kilometers left to roll. Fantastic racing by all these riders on fantastic Leuven course. As I say, not a massive amount of elevation on this course, but the elevation comes in some really shocking, painful hits, enough to disrupt everybody's tempo and really create breaks in the race. JL on this cobbled section. Front of this iconic church. Cheering fans. And not very far to go now to the finish line. Come up to the end of this climb segment. And Precision Race Team sign there tells us we've got 1.5 kilometer left to go. Fantastic racing today. Really electrifying. Richard Akers there, just every moment, every turn of the wheel seemed like he was going to make an attack. But the guys he was racing with tonight were very responsive and weren't prepared to let him have any space. They weren't giving him any distance at all. From now, final straight, a little bit of elevation, bit of lump in this final section with 750 meters to go. Gradient just goes up 4.3. The times there of the riders coming over the Whimpers climb, live ranking. Difference in speed between the front group there, finishing in 2:07, and the rear group at 2:23. Through with 430 meters left to go. So very close to watching Jay Al over the finish line here. Pushing out the last watts to get to the finish line. Hope you've enjoyed the extended stream that we did today. Had a little break in the middle of it where we all had a moment to go grab a coffee, and the French race occurred as JL comes over the line in 6th position in a time just over 30 minutes. Some great riding. Hope you really enjoyed that. We'll be back later on with the final race from this season, from this event, which is I think it's the 7:30 p.m. race, the Americas time zone race. And we hope you'll be back with us to watch that. And I hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far. It's been great having you along with us.